Whilst the junior races should be fairly unpredictable, the women's under-23 race could well be the most predictable race of the whole weekend. There is one enormous favourite, but there's also enough outsiders to make this a compelling race with some fascinating names on target for medals. There really is only one favourite, arguably someone who has no business racing in this category, but think what you think about her decision. Shirin van Anrooij is the clear favourite to win herself the under-23 world title, adding to the junior title she won in 2020. The Dutch woman is amongst the strongest riders in the world, and so is the overwhelming favourite to take a home world title, especially with Pieterse and Van Empel having already moved up to the elite category. However, at the Euros in Namur, Van Anrooij was merely third. Pieterse has since moved up to the elites, but second on the day was French super talent Line Burquet. Burquet finds a course far less suited to her than the technical and mountainous Namur, so I don't expect it to be quite as competitive, but last season she was the only person in the same shot as the three Dutch mega talents, so for now I'll keep her as the main challenger that Van Anrooij will face. France can also count on Amandine Fouquenet, whose road abilities might come in quite handy here. Speaking of road abilities and power, Zoe Backstedt might be amongst the biggest favourites despite just being a first year under 23. The youngster has proven herself to be already arguably ready for the big time, with most recently an incredible 4th place in Besançon. Whilst I think it's early to expect her to be battling for the title, an incredible podium position could well be on the cards. Kristina Zemanova seems to be coming back into form at the perfect time. The Czech national champion has had a few rough races over Christmas, but a 13th place finish amongst the elites in Besançon was good enough for the under-23 podium there. Zemanova seems to glide through seasons somewhat anonymously, but I predict we'll see a decent bit of her come Sunday. She was 7th last year in and around the likes of Schreiber and Fouquenet, so she's definitely good enough to compete. I do sort of struggle to place her though that well. Another person I really struggle to place is Madigan Monroe. The American mountain biker pulled off some great performances in Gavre, Loenhout and Baal, but in recent races she looked to be going backwards a bit. Maybe the hillier nature of Gavre and Baal suited her natural mountain biking prowess more. Hoge Heide's similarities to Besançon, for example, could see Monroe up against a course that doesn't suit her. However, I'd feel wrong ignoring her completely, so here's your mention. Marie Schreiber is basically guaranteed the whole shot, and without the elite gang to chase her back down, could she hold on at the front this time? Schreiber has grown a lot throughout the season, and now with potential, well in fact confirmed SD Works backing in the near future, she'll want to show her new team exactly what she can do. I think the faster course will suit Schreiber quite a lot. She was pretty good in Fayetteville last year, so expect her to be near the front, but again, podiums are so hard to predict in this race, because there's a lot of people who are incredibly close ability wise, but we never actually get to see them race, because they race the elite races, but are never on camera. It's basically impossible to look past Shirin van Anrooij for the win though. That's the one that everyone will pick, and she's the one that I'm going to pick as well. Van Anrooij should crown herself world champion with relative ease. I think round here Zoe Backstedt could put up a shock though. She could well end up 2nd or 3rd. I also fancy Marie Schreiber to do well, and I think Amandine Fouquenet, who has a lot of road experience compared to a lot of these other riders, could put on somewhat of a shock as well. The thing with Hoge Heide is that it tends to lend itself to pack racing, and I think especially in a race like this, where there's both so much at stake so that people won't want to take a huge risk, and there's a lot of strange dynamics at play, with the under-23 riders in the women's category at least, never really getting the chance to race purely amongst themselves. I think that it's entirely possible we get a very closed race, where Van Anrooij might shoot off in a sort of Van der Poel-esque attack, and then behind you'll get a group similar to the men's race in Besançon, with a whole host of names of which you don't really know what to expect. And of course in Besançon you still had Sweek and Isabit there to kind of spoil the party. But there could be some real funky, weird names on this podium, and I'm entirely there for it. So make sure to tune in on Sunday, this one will be, and midday roughly, just before the elite men kick off, the penultimate race of the weekend, the women's under-23 race in Hoge Heide.